Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Smackdown on August 23rd, 2016. Well, they started out the show by introducing two new titles. So they are now introducing the SmackDown's women's title and the SmackDown tag team titles. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. In the terms of how they look exactly the same like the other titles, except the women's title has a blue to it in the center, and there's a blue strap, and there's a silver for the metal portion on the tag team titles. In the terms of the color palette, they don't look bad, but but just like with the Universal title, a lot of people probably harping on the fact that they are not unique designs in any way, shape, or form. They went with old designs with a different color palette to them. But overall, it should be interesting, and it brings meaning into the tag team division and the women's division within SmackDown itself. So that is the most important thing about that at this point in time, is that each of those divisions now have a meaning. So as that was going along, Heath Slater comes out and he starts going off and saying, "Hey, doing his typical bit, saying, hey, I should be able to go after the tag team titles in this case." They make a joke in there about the women's title to go along with it, saying he's not equipped because, well, he's not in that case. But overall, it was going on an aspect of the new storyline for Heath Slater, saying, you know what, if you could find a tag team partner, we'll put you in the tournament, but this is going to be the only way you can get a contract is by winning the entire thing, because he was guaranteeing victory within that aspect of everything. So he's like, okay, he's basically like, okay, I'm going to go find a tag team partner. AJ Styles comes out. I love this little bit. He starts harping on everything that was going on, saying, focus should be around him. He beat John Cena and everything like that. Heath Slater walks by. He's like, "Hey, will you be my tag team partner?" He's like, "No, I will not be your tag team partner." And just like dismisses him altogether. He eventually gets attacked by Dolph Ziggler, and I did kind of leave this one out. Like right before they went to this segment, you had a backstage segment where AJ comes in. He starts bragging about beating John Cena, and he sees a Dolph Ziggler that is in a sad state, starts taunting him. He gets headbutted. They get into a pool way fight. So you had that. Ziggler comes out and attacks AJ Styles. They get pulled apart. This will come into play a little bit later on. Actually, not too much further along afterwards. I'll talk about that in a few moments, because we had two matches right after that. The first one was Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Pretty decent match from both of them. You had Naomi and Natalya on commentary. Not a big fan of Naomi on commentary. The heel character of Natalya is coming out a little bit better now at this point. So typical building for them going into the six-pack challenge. Oh yeah, I need to actually point that out. The women's division, the title will be determined via a six-pack challenge at Backlash, and there will be a 8-team tag team tournament, which includes Heath Slater, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few bits. You also had the first round in the tag team title tournament going on. You had the Ascensions going up against the Usos. They actually put on a pretty good match here. I thought this match was done well and actually displayed the Ascension a little bit in a better light. You expected the Usos to go over here, and of course they did in that case. But like I said, pretty good match from them. You had a couple segments from Heath Slater backstage. One where he's trying to go up and find tag team partners. He's talking to people. He's talking to the Miz, and it's like he's saying all these proper words like, "Oh, maybe he'll be his tag team partner." It reveals that he was talking to Steven Spielberg about the new Indiana Jones, or something in that sense. He was also talking with Arn Anderson and a couple others backstage. All of them turn him down, and eventually Rhino comes up and accepts to be the tag team partner. Now this will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they play that off, because of not because of the match beforehand that they had, but because, will they have them actually make it to the tournament finals or something like that? What will they do? Will they actually take this into the Backlash pay-per-view or something in that sense, or will it just be kind of a one and done for them with next week's match in general? So up next to talk about was AJ Styles coming out to cut a promo. Basically, again, cutting another promo, but basically going off of what he did against John Cena and saying that, he should just be the number one contender for the WWE World Championship and everything that says. He gets interrupted by Dolph Ziggler again. Dolph Ziggler comes out like they have to do another pull apart, and Daniel Bryan comes out. Makes a match between the two, but also does make AJ the number one contender. It was kind of confusing how they made this. Like, apparently AJ ends up being already the number one contender. So he already has a match with Dean Ambrose, but the match between the AJ and Dolph Ziggler would determine whether or not it was a one-on-one match or a triple threat in the end. So it was a little bit confusing how they set that one up, but it leads to the main event of the night, basically. But we'll go through a couple other things here, because we do have what was supposed to be Nikki Bella's first match back from or not her first match back, but her first match on televised TV back. Since the injury, the first one-on-one, she was supposed to go up against Carmella. She was getting interviewed in the ring by Renee Young. Carmella just basically goes up and beats her down. So this plays an interesting aspect to it. When Nikki Bella came back at SummerSlam, she was on the heel team, gets a face pop from the crowd. And so on SmackDown, she's being kind of dubbed as a face. And now, luckily the crowd reciprocated what was going on, and they kind of turned Carmella heel in this case. She beats down Nikki Bella and everything in that sense, and essentially goes heel. But it was a little bit weird because, it's like, was Nikki heel, Nikki face? Apparently she's face now. So we'll go with it for the time being, and let's see how many times they change her, because they used to do that a lot with the Bellas in the past. Like, oh, they're faces this week, now they're heels, now they're faces, now they're heels, now they're faces. Let's hope they remain consistent for once. That's one hoping that I have there. Up next, you had Randy Orton coming out to cut a promo, and this was basically the starting. Like, he basically was going and saying it's like he's not done with Brock Lesnar, he wants him again and everything in that sense. But Bray Wyatt interrupts and starts talking in his own way, basically starting the feud between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. Kind of, you got a smidget from last SmackDown. Now you can tell it's like this is where they're going with Randy Orton. He's going to be going up against Bray Wyatt at this point in time, and that could be that could be an interesting one. If they have feuded in the past, it's been a while since they feuded, so we'll see how this one ends up going. It could end up being pretty good to go along with everything too. So you have no idea. So we'll see where everything goes here. You got American Alpha going up against Breezango and the tag team title tournament. American Alpha going over, and what was a pretty good match. Again, like most of the matches tonight, the ones that took place, actually pretty good. They weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. They were thoroughly enjoyable to watch. They were given a decent chunk of time to at least work a match. And here again, like American Alpha and Breezango were like shown in a good light. Breezango does not win, but they were getting a good chunk of offense, and they were actually countering their finisher and everything in that sense. And of course, American Alpha doing the same to go along with it. And we'll see how everything continues on with that. Obviously, they're playing off of this tournament style for setting up the tag team titles, so we'll see how everything fully plays out. I like the match that they had here. Now, hopefully, they can kind of even though these teams lost, they seemed a little bit viable and could maybe not necessarily be fully buried throughout their entire time around there. So we'll see how everything plays off. Up next, you had a backstage promo from Dean Ambrose. This was an interesting one. Basically, they're at the Mohegan Sun. There's a casino within the arena and everything. So apparently, during the entire show, that's all Dean Ambrose is doing. He is just at the casino, having a good time at the roulette table, starts walking in there. He gets served a drink, starts doing some kind of out there stuff in the terms of everything. It wasn't a bad promo, but you kind of want a more serious Dean Ambrose at times too, and this is not one of those times. Like, I like the stuff that he and Dolph Ziggler were doing going into SummerSlam. This promo, not so much. Like, in terms of delivery and how it came off, was it entertaining? Yes, it was. But did you really want to see Dean Ambrose in that light? Maybe not. Maybe so. Who knows? Who knows in that case? But like, promo wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Just, again, kind of out there in that sense. So this leads into, because he's supposed to go out for commentary for the AJ Styles Dolph Ziggler match. So you have the AJ Styles Dolph Ziggler match. Really good match. Really good match between the two of them. And, you know, you wouldn't expect anything less. Dolph Ziggler's out there. He can put on a good match and everything. But here it comes again. AJ Styles just goes over. What are they going to do with Dolph Ziggler now? It's like they kind of give you that glimmer of hope that maybe they're going to use Dolph Ziggler in a good light or in a more potential main event light, and they just have him lose. And they just have him lose. And they just have him lose there. It's like the song that never changes. It's the song that never ends in this one with Dolph Ziggler. I like AJ Styles, and I agree that he should be, in storyline in general, he should be going after the WWE World Championship. But it was one of those things, like, it's same song and dance with Dolph Ziggler the entire time. It's like he's given an opportunity, loses, opportunity, loses, opportunity, loses. Like, when are they going to write something different for this character in some way, shape, or form? You get a brief stare down between AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose as they're going off the air, and that was pretty much how SmackDown was. SmackDown was actually a good show again this week. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a couple of segments that were kind of out there and everything, but they also put on some pretty good matches this week to go along with everything. So, again, another thoroughly enjoyable SmackDown in the terms of match quality and somewhat of story building as well. Like, you got importance out of these matches that were going on. Like with the tag title tournament, you're obviously going to have the women's division where they're going to be building momentum going into the actual pay-per-view match. So you have something to build off of. Let's see how they build off of it going into Backlash, because, well, they don't have many shows to do so. So we'll see how everything goes. And that is my review for SmackDown this week. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.